Hey there. Welcome back to the Golfweek Amateur Tour, the podcast. Chris, should we tell people how to join the tour?
Of course. Whether you're a seasoned member or just tuning in to learn more, we're here to help you dive into the ins and outs of the tour. If you've been on the fence about joining, there's no better time than now. It's a fantastic way to play competitive golf, meet other passionate golfers, and step up your game.
Registration is open. All you need to do is go to amateurgolftour.net, click Join the Tour button, and pay your local tour's membership dues.
And if you want to keep up with all things Golfweek Amateur Tour, make sure you're subscribed and listening to the podcast on your favorite platform. Don't forget to download each episode, share it with your golf buddies, and if you're enjoying the show, drop us a like and a review. Your feedback helps us grow the community and reach more golfers just like you. Thanks for tuning in. Now let's get into today's episode.
Ladies and gentlemen, Golfweek Amateur Tour proudly presents Golfweek Amateur Tour, the podcast, talking about all things Golfweek Amateur Tour, including interviews with tour directors, players, and course professionals. Now here are your hosts, Tim Newman and El Paso Las Cruces Tour Director, Chris Rocha.
Tim, welcome back. How's your week been so far? I know mine's been real tough. Had a house full of sickness, but getting better, getting ready for our events. But how you been?
I've been good. Yeah, you don't sound real good. You better get it fixed before Saturday, because if you get the tour member sick, then that's a real problem. So
Right.
Don't really care about you. Just want to make sure that the players don't get sick.
Nah, I think we'll be fine. Worst case scenario, I'll just get my own cart. And the good thing about golf is you only have to yell 4 if you're hitting into somebody. Other than that, you don't really have to talk much.
Well, I do hope you feel better, and hope the kids are doing okay. And here's the one person that cannot get sick, and that's your wife.
Right. She's the backbone. So
She.
we always say, like, I'll take the sickness off the boys and deal with it so that they're not sick. But the second she gets it, it's chaos, and we can't figure out what's left and right and up and down.
I know it's crazy how that works sometimes.
Right.
Maybe we could do everything, but until she gets sick, we can't figure out anything. Don't know how to do laundry. Only thing we can make is macaroni and cheese. We eat Snickers bars for lunches. It's just not good.
I'm pretty sure the kids like it because it's easy food for them, but for us, it's we're chickens without a head at that point.
Exactly. We do have some serious things that we need to talk about. Our friend Jay Wendell passed away recently. A lot of people may not know his name, but I can tell you one thing: he was a friend of ours. He's a very good friend and supporter of the tour. He's going to be really missed, and how you would know Jay, just as a regular tour member, is if you've ever been to Nationals and you stayed in a hotel and you got a hotel discount. Almost every one of those hotel discounts started with Jay Wendell. He's been wonderful for the tour. It's tragic, Chris. He died unexpectedly. And I don't know if other people know this, and if I get in trouble for saying it, I'm sorry, but his wife is also dying of cancer. She's terminal. She's terminal, and the sad part is they have a son who's a senior in high school, and so he's in a world of hurt right now. So as a tour, if we can keep them in our prayers, and I know Jen shared a post today in Facebook, or a couple days ago in Facebook, about for people to donate to help their son and his college tuition costs and that sort of thing. But it's a sad story all the way around.
Yeah, it definitely is. And when you told me, I had to take a moment because it makes you realize that life is precious, and you never know what can happen, because we talked to him before Nationals last year, and he was telling us, to go say hi and just swing by and say hi, and he would show us around. And with the craziness that National gets, you don't really have much free time. So I didn't get a chance to go out there and meet him, but you always say, oh, next year I'll make some time, but you never know what can happen within a full year. So
Exactly.
When you texted me, I did have to take a moment to reflect on that, because that interview was fun. He was super excited with the renovations that they were doing at the hotel, and it's a sad story all around.
It really is. And then another piece, and don't really want to get into this too much here. We'll talk about this in the closing, but Jennifer's parents are not doing well, and Dennis and Jennifer have been in North Carolina helping and dealing with some situations there. So, as you're listening to this, if you sent Dennis or Jennifer an email, or you're expecting some goodie bag stuff, please just be patient, and they'll respond and get those things out to you as soon as possible. Just understand. But again, Chris, we'll talk about that later. Let's talk about some fun stuff. We're going to talk to. We got a really good episode this week. We're going to talk to a player who their first tournament won a 2-day major. That's a good way to get started. We've got another tour director kicking off his season recently. So stick with us.
Yeah, let's go.
So you want to go ahead and bring the first guest in?
First guest of this episode, we're glad to have him, and we were talking off air before you arrived about me being sick, and he said, come to Louisiana and we'll fix you up real quick. I mentioned the story about how we wanted some Cajun food after the major, and they took us to a Mexican restaurant. And that was a little out of left field, but let's bring our first guest for this event from Louisiana North, Mr. Kevin Odom.
Kevin, welcome to the show, bud. Doing great, and I know. Look, I love to eat. Obviously, I love food, but Cajun food for me is, man, it's heaven. I love it. So whether I'm sick, whether I'm not, but you're right. If you're sick, that'll get you cleaned out real quick.
Yeah. I'm just going to go out there and say I've never in my entire life been disappointed of Gina O'Neill until I heard that she brought y'all to a Mexican restaurant. And we're going to throw that out there right now. I'm going to have a conversation with her. I'm going to say, Gina, I love you. You're the best tour director in the United States. We're going to have to work on your catering menu. I mean, that's just, cannot do Mexican food in Louisiana when we have some Northerners coming down. Come on.
Well, let's be fair with it now. I mean, we did go get Mexican, but we also did get to take part in the buffet food that was there at Tamaka Trails.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to go right back to. I mean, I love it all, but I'm going to go right back to the bread pudding, because you don't get true authentic bread pudding everywhere. But you go to Louisiana and you're going to get some real good bread pudding. So I'm going to keep bringing that up.
Yeah, we do that well, but I'm going to give her some grief over the Mexican food. And we have good Mexican food down here. It's a little Tex-Mex, but I'm going to give her some grief. Gina, this is the first time you've ever disappointed me, and it's been a lot. I've known her for a long time. So anyway.
Well, let's throw Chris under the bus for that, for even bringing that up. But
hey, that's a fond memory,
It was
taking second place B-Flight, first place in the skills challenge, and then going to Mexican food in Louisiana. It's a story that you can't just miss the punchline on that one.
That's exactly right.
But that was Gina did a really good job with that regional last year at Tamaka Trails. Tamaka Trails, took care of us. Gina did a great job. It was a heck of a lot of fun there. I'll tell you that right now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So Tamaka is always on our schedule every year. It's always in good shape. They take care of us as a tour. Gina just does such a good job at every tournament. I love her. I love her like family. Everybody on the tour does. It's just one of those things that like every I is dotted, every T is crossed, and then they always make sure that our tour is taken care of at the tournaments that we're at, or the courses we're at. So, Tamaka's a good one. I'm glad y'all got to see that one.
Yeah, me too. And what I'd actually like to do is get back there another time when we don't have, when we're not doing the podcast, and we can actually have a little bit more fun with you, with everybody that's there, because there's got to be I got to bring some level of professionalism, for afterwards, as opposed to doing all the.
I mean,
Tim,
win in Louisiana, win in Rome,
I know.
I mean,
Tim,
at least just make sure I'm there, and we won't go eat Mexican food. Just make sure that.
Hey, at least our podcast was in the clubhouse, not in the men's locker room. Okay, so
that's true.
We're one step ahead.
So Kevin, you started the 2025 season off right. I mean, you guys had a 2-day tournament there this past week at Stonebridge, and you won in the playoff. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, it's my home course. I felt good coming into it. Been playing some really good golf. The first day was, it was kind of a grind, like it is in the first day of every major tournament. And you kind of tell yourself it's a marathon. Don't do anything stupid. Keep yourself in it. And missed a lot of short putts. The first day, the greens were slick. I mean, they were fast. But I was one shot back after day one. Never looked at the scoreboard the whole time. Was kind of hanging around all day. Got to, it was a shotgun start. I was on 3. Birdied 16, 17, par 18, which is a tough hole, and hit it right down the middle on 1. I was like, let's take a look at the scoreboard and see what we need to do, which is just the Achilles heel, and had a 3-shot lead with basically 1.5 to play and go double bogey, because I am what they refer to as an amateur golfer, and
that's it.
And it was just didn't miss very much all day, and I saw that and I was like, So, I hit a putter from 40 yards out on one shot. And after I won in the playoff, one of the guys came up to me. He's like, dude, what were you thinking back there? I was like, I wasn't thinking. I didn't know what was happening. I blacked out, But no, I mean, it was fun. We went to the playoff with 2 of my really good friends, really good golfers. Hit 3, one of the toughest holes out at Stonebridge, dead in the wind. You got to go over one water, and then on your shot to the green, another water. It's just a really tough hole. Just hyped 3 good drives in a row. Ended up, winning in the playoff. But, what's so cool about our tour, it was the guys in my group, after I made double bogey with, 2 to play, they're like, dude, just make birdie on the last hole. You're good. The guys in my group were cheering me on. I knew they were out of it.
Right.
So they're cheering me on. Then we go to the playoff and we have a 3-person playoff. There's 50, 60 people around the green. They're all watching the playoff, and every time somebody hits a shot, it doesn't matter who hits it. They're like, yeah, good shot. It's
awesome. Yeah.
It's just so much fun, right? I mean, I think it starts with Gina. She's everybody's cheerleader, and then that filters down to everybody on the tour, which all of a sudden becomes, I'm cheering for these other people. The final playoff hole, I hit my tee shot down the middle. The guy that I'm playing with, one of my close friends, his name is John Wilson, great golfer, really good golfer. Hit his tee ball, got a bad break, hit the tree, threw it out of bounds. And he comes up, he goes, hey man, just go up there, hit your ball. If you knock it on the green, I'll concede. Of course, they were like, look, technically you're out, so either you can concede or you can go re-tee. He's like, well, I'm going to go re-tee. So he re-teed and hit it down the middle, knocks it on the green. I knocked mine on the green, so we're pulling up. He goes, man, he's like, it's good. He's like, let's just pick them up. I said, buddy, look, I'm not going to let you do that. I was like, we're going to finish this out, right? Because if you make your 15-footer and I 3-putt my 20-footer, which I've 3-putt this weekend more than once, we're going back to the tee box. He's like, you know what, dude, that's why I love you. Let's finish it out. And he missed his and I 2-putt. So, man, it was just a good weekend. Had some things go my way, and it was a lot of fun. That's one of the things I love about this tour is there's people that I met 4 years ago on this tour that will probably be carrying my coffin one day. I mean, that I didn't know before this tour. So It's just, it's just a good time,
It's so true in those things that you said. Now I don't want to think about carrying anybody's coffin, but you're right. The people that you meet really do become family, and again, like Gina, you're not the first person that has told us that Gina is everybody's cheerleader. I mean, so we hear that all the time, from players, whether it's from your tour or people that have gone and played, at one of your events, or Gina and Trey have gone to play in other events. That's who they are, and it's what you should know is it's not just you guys. That's who Gina is all the time, and people notice that, and that says a lot about who Gina actually is, as a person. It's not fake. It's not just on tournament day in Louisiana North. It's everywhere she goes.
No, I can definitely validate what you're saying, because when we were at the regional, and I was in contention, the other three guys that weren't in contention in my group were kind of cheering you on, which, I'm not a scoreboard leader or a scoreboard watcher, but when you have three guys cheering you on, it's like, all right, there's something brewing here. And I mean, even with Gina, like the playoff we had at Nationals for the Tour Director Cup, I mean, she was out there on the hill in her bright orange getup that she wears, and it's like, Gina, you better move, because if I top this thing, it's going right at you. So either you're quick or we'll see what happens. But I mean, even then, she's the loudest screamer when you hit a good shot. And it's just awesome. And she was, regardless of where she took us out to eat, it was a top-notch tour, top-notch event. And like you said, Tim, I'd like to go back again. I got to enjoy a little bit more than you as far as being able to be myself on the golf course, and then have to put the professional podcast hat on when the cameras were rolling. But it was fun. Minus the humidity, though. When me and my wife walked out of the airport and we go, ugh, at the same time, it's a little different. But I had a good time.
Kevin, I don't think there's ever been an episode where, and we're 60 deep now, that Chris hasn't complained about the weather.
There's been a couple.
It's too hot, it's too cold, it's raining, it's windy.
Well, we did. I mean, I was born and raised here, and it does get a little humid down here, but just bring a sweat or shirt to change into, and you're good to go.
Shirt, socks,
undershirt, underwear, whatever. But
so were you paired with either John or Steven, during the second round, or were they together and you were in a different group?
So here's what's crazy is they were paired together ahead of me. They were in the group ahead of me. They finished one hole, and they knew they had a one shot, or they were one shot behind me. Okay. And the hole that I finished on is our number one handicap hole. Oh. And I mean, and so my guys, we get on the tee box. I'm like, Kevin, you got a one shot lead, dude. You got this. You've been piping it all day. Just hit it up. Killed my tee shot. One of the best shots I hit. One of the best drives I hit all day till we got to the playoffs. The 3 playoff drives, guys, I hit drives I've never hit in my life into the wind. John Wilson looked at me. He goes, "Dude, when did you get long?" I was like, "I'm not long. I'm amped up. I'm amped up right now." He said, "I don't know what's going on, but you need to back it down." I was like, "Nah, dude." But on the last hole, I hit it right down the middle. I'm sitting in the middle of the fairway. It's just it's a little driving range 8-iron. And I hit the ugliest snap hook 8-iron you've ever seen in your life left of the green. And John and Steven, they're sitting on the back of the green because they know that I'm one shot ahead of them. And they're just sitting there watching. They want to know what's going on. I hit one of the best pitches I've hit all day long from about 30. I was 30 yards left of the green. That's how bad of a snap hook it was.
Wow.
And I knock it up there 3 feet from the hole. And I'm walking up. I got my chest poked out. I was like, and John looks at me and he's like, "Yeah, he's about to make this," because that's when they sit around. That's kind of what I do. I'll miss it 100 times if they're not there, but if they're there, there's a good chance it's going in. And I hit the putt. I go to get it out the hole, and it rims out, and I miss it. And they stand up, and John was like, "Was that kind of a jerk move?" I was like, "Nah, dude, you did exactly what you need to do to get to that next tee box. So let's go do this, you know." But I mean, it was, you know, it was fun. You know, it was fun. It was nothing but laughs, and but yeah, that was the last hole. That was kind of how it ended.
Oh, that's awesome. Again, being able to be in those situations and have the pressure, but have the fun, have that camaraderie, you know, it's what keeps us coming back every week, right?
So there's actually a D flighter. Her name is Tracy Ryan. It's her first year on the tour, and she won her flight this year in her first tournament by one.
She really?
She won her flight by one. And I looked at her, I said, "Are you hooked?" And she goes, "Oh, I'm hooked." She's like, "This was so much fun." Like at one point she had an 8-shot lead, and she looked at the scoreboard and then kind of went the other way after she looked at the scoreboard. She's like, "Why did I do that?" I was like, "Don't do that again." And, but she won D flight. She came to me. It's her first trophy she's ever won. And she was like, "I'm hooked. I'm absolutely hooked." So, you know, it's just something special, you know?
That's cool.
That is awesome. That, I mean, to win your first time out, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So Tracy, congratulations. You know, God bless you. You got to do it again. Now you got to go for 2 in a row.
Right.
And now the pressure's on. Right.
I mean, you can't win them all if you don't win the first.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So what's your favorite course that you guys play on a regular basis?
On a regular basis, man, I love, I mean, the nicest course that we play and the toughest, which I've never played well on. I've never had a, you know, top 5 finish at, Mystic Creek it's actually an Arkansas course that we travel over to. It's beautiful, but, I mean, Tamaka is just so good. It's always good. It kicks my butt, you know, it really does, but it's always in good shape. The fairways are always good. The greens are always good. Oak Wing and Links on the Bayou in Alexandria, they're both just always good. I mean, they do a really good job of picking out courses that focus on, at the very least, making sure the greens are good, you know, and that's, you know, to me, that's what's important, right? I mean, if the course is in good shape, great. I love it. But if the greens are good, that's all I really care about. I want to be able to putt on something that's smooth and true.
Right. Right. And that's, you know, what really affects, you know, the play more than anything else anyway. Right.
Right.
So, yeah, I've heard Trey and some of the guys talk about Oak Wing a lot.
Well, Trey likes Oak Wing because I think that's his only win. So, you know, I got to say that. I love me some Uncle Daddy. I mean, that's what we call him, Uncle Daddy.
Yeah, he's fun to hang out with too. That's for sure.
He's as good as they come.
But I don't know if it's a Louisiana hospitality thing, you know, because my brother also lives in Louisiana. He lives in down by Fort Polk and DeRidder. I don't know if you know where that is.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Armpit, you know, middle of nowhere. I don't know why he lives there, but God bless him.
Yeah, well, that's the armpit that uses deodorant. So there's another armpit. So,
but everybody. I mean, I don't think I've run into anybody in Louisiana that it is not hospitable and nice and you know, all those things that is traditional for being down south, right?
Yeah. But
you actually have that in Louisiana. I mean, that's just true. So, from my perspective, anyway.
I appreciate that. And I feel like we try to do that when people come visit us, you know, from other tours. And we have people that come over from the Arkansas tour. We had several from the Arkansas tour that came and played in the opening season major. And, you know, they're like, you know, it's just kind of a different feel. You know, it's really, our tour is a family. Gina says it all the time. You're family. We're family. You know, you celebrate when things are good with each other. You hurt with each other when they're not. But it really is a family tour for us. And I think the people that come in, we treat them the same way because we want them to be a part of our family. And I think, like you said earlier, one of the best things I think I've heard you say all day, and you said a lot of really good things, but with Gina, it's not fake, right? I mean, what you see is what you get, and it's true and it's real. And I think that translates to the rest of our tour.
Yeah, I think so too. Because I've talked about this, Chris, with you a lot. We get a lot of feedback from other players about tours, and I've never heard anything bad about Gina, ever, and Louisiana North. Never, not once.
Except Mexican food.
But that's not good.
I just count what Chris says anyway. So
I'm texting her as soon as we get done with this. I'm like, how could you? And I'm going to put a jalapeno emoji.
That's awesome. All right,
so she's gonna be mad at me. You're gonna get me in trouble now.
No, she's gonna get me. She's gonna get me because I'm within slapping distance. So,
give us your best safe for public consumption story about something that happened on tour.
Non-consumption story.
But something that's safe to be put out on the podcast.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go with this. So the first, man, there's so many I could give. We're going to, okay. Well, so the first win I ever had on tour, it was 4 years ago. Guy, that I was riding with, we met that day. Gina's like, hey, you're going to love this guy. His name's Justin Rushing. Fantastic guy. You're going to love him. He's going to ride in your golf cart with you because it's Stonebridge. He shows up, and it was my first year on tour. I was trying to make friends, didn't really know anybody. And I said, hey, the big white golf cart is lifted, going to have free fireball shots before we take off. Just trying to get people to come out. He's the only one that showed up, and he was riding with me. And we got a little overserved on the fireball shots. I won the tournament. I got the trophy, drank a beer out the trophy, and then lost my gift card that I won from winning the tournament. I had to get my wife to come get me. She was so disappointed. My kids were so disappointed. But flash forward 4 years, because he had to drop out of the tour for a little bit, job change and young kids and other things. Flash forward 4 years, and he rode with me at the tournament this past weekend.
How about that?
And day one, he shows up and he's like, fireball? I'm like, why not? Let's go. So we did it again this time, but, like I said, I haven't seen him in, 3-4 years, and, here we are again. I don't know. That's probably the best story to tell, that, I got a little tipsy and lost my gift card, but,
I thought you were about to say that he had your gift card, and 4 years later, he handed it back to you.
That would have been a much better story. Like if we could get that tail end to come back, because I would love to get that gift card back. I think what happened is I think I actually used it to buy everybody in the clubhouse drinks, and just told my wife I lost it. But, who knows? We don't know.
But that's that again. That wouldn't be the first time or the last time that happens. You would be surprised how many times after tournaments I'll get a phone call from somebody who gets home and whatever. They said, "Well, I had too much to drink or whatever. I can't find my gift card. Did you give it to me?" I said, "Yeah, I gave it to you. Go check your golf bag. Go start tearing everything apart." Yeah, it happens all the time.
Yeah, it happens. Now, we did have one. I hit a hole in one in the practice round, and I had to, buy everybody drinks, because if you hit a hole in one, you got to buy everybody drinks. And we stayed up there till 10 o'clock at night. Gina calls me. The tournament's supposed to tee off at 8 o'clock shotgun. She calls me at 7:51. She's like, "Kevin, where are you at?" I said, "I'm looking at you right now." And I was walking up with my bag on my shoulder, both my shoes in my hand, barefoot, no socks. And she goes, "What happened?" I said, "I hit a hole in one." She goes, "That makes sense. Go get in the cart."
Was that this past weekend?
No. This was a couple of years ago.
Oh, okay. Oh my goodness.
So she's like, "What am I going to do with you, KO?" I said, "Gina, only you know. Only you know."
That's awesome. That is awesome, man. So we've talked about Oakland, we've talked about Tamaka, but if somebody could only come to one tournament in Louisiana North, what would it be?
This year or just in general?
In general.
In general. Man, I would say either Oak Wing or Tamaka. I mean, they're both Alexandria. That Oak Wing is really good. That's always in good shape. I would probably say Tamaka. It's a casino course. You've got you've got the restaurants in the casino. They're always putting money into the course. It's always in good shape. I mean, it's a tough course. I mean, it's a challenge. For no matter what flight you're in, doesn't matter if you're champ A, B, C, D. It's just a tough setup, and it challenges you as a golfer. But at the same time, it's always set up well to where it's not the golf course's fault why you don't play good, if that makes sense. Right. Like it's on you.
Well, Kevin, thank you so much for taking some time with us tonight. I really do appreciate it. Wish you the best rest of the season. Hopefully we'll see you in Hilton Head in October.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Appreciate you guys. Y'all have a good night.
All right, send best everybody down there in Louisiana, and don't be too hard on Gina and Trey.
I'll try. It's getting crawfish season, so y'all need to get down here soon. So
tell me about it.
Kicked off crawfish season.
See, I just got chills when you said that.
Yeah.
All right, bud. You take care of yourself.
You too, guys. Thank you.
Let's take a break from the show to hear about Srixon's ZX Mark II irons.
A great iron set needs more than good looks. It's got to be fast and got to be pure. But good looks never hurt either. The all-new ZX Mark II irons from Srixon.
Tim, all I'm going to say is Kevin's one guy that I regret we didn't hang out with at the regional last year.
Yeah, he seems like a fun dude, man. And I can't remember which movie it is, but it's Bill Murray. He's going around talking to people. It was Stripes. It was in Stripes, and he says, "I want to party with that dude." Mm-hmm. That's the guy. I mean, he sounds like he's a fun guy.
Oh yeah, definitely. It would have been a good time with him.
Yeah. I mean, big supporter of the tour, and you know what really struck me is when we started talking about his win, the first thing that he said wasn't about himself.
Right. Which is cool because
it was about the D-Flight player.
Right.
How awesome is that?
No, it is awesome because that's the hospitality you get from that tour. It's not about me. We're going to take care of everybody and we're going to have a good time.
Yeah. So Gina, keep doing great things. Kevin, like I said, if you get to 3 wins in a row, we'll start talking about having you on every week. So, let Chris, let's go ahead and talk about our next guest. He's got a regional coming up, and we'll talk to him about it. But the Shoals regional in Alabama is going to be a good time, and I'm interested to see what he says about the history, if he knows it, or wants to talk about anything about the history of the Muscle Shoals area. I don't know if you know about this. That's at one point it's got a lot of history in music. A lot of old time recording studios. Some of the biggest names in music ever. That's where they got their start is in Muscle Shoals.
That's pretty cool. I'd be interested in learning about that. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and bring in our next guest, the Nashville Tour Director.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Nashville Senior. Jeff, welcome to the show, bud. You've got this regional coming up, and I don't know if you heard me say it's going to be a good time. You've got 2 really good courses up there, but what I mentioned was the history of Muscle Shoals and the music industry and the music scene there. At one point, that was the place to be if you were.
Oh, absolutely.
If you wanted to be a recording artist, was Muscle
Shoals.
First,
a lot of people don't even know where Muscle Shoals is. So to give everybody kind of a frame of reference, Muscle Shoals is a city that's right along the Tennessee River as it dips down into Alabama. So the Tennessee River kind of cuts Tennessee in a third from the Memphis side, and then the river turns and goes parallel along the Tennessee-Alabama line about 50 miles in. And then it goes all the way over and then cuts back up through Chattanooga. So the Shoals area was a low area when it was a river. And now they've taken the Tennessee River, and since the 1940s, after World War II, during the Great Deal improvements in the Tennessee Valley area, they put 2 dams, and the area of Muscle Shoals is now a lake. And you actually have to cross the dams off a major interstate or a major road to get back over to Muscle Shoals. Muscle Shoals is on the south side of the Tennessee River, and there's a county seat of, I believe, Lauderdale County in Alabama. That's Florence, Alabama. And Florence, Alabama is the home of North Alabama State University. So the golf courses, and they're absolutely great golf courses, sit above a bluff that looks down over the lake. On a good clear day when you're out the back of the clubhouse, you can look straight back over, see the other side, and lots of boats and people out having a good time on the lake. So that's where Muscle Shoals is. Also to give people, if you're coming in, your north side of the state, you're kind of parallel to Huntsville. So if you actually fly in, if you're going to fly in to get to Muscle Shoals, you would fly into Huntsville International Airport. It's about an hour drive west. And you cross I-65 interstate, and you go through a town called Athens, and you go to Florence, and then there's some bridges that get you back over to the Muscle Shoals side. For people who want to stay, lots of hotel options that are in Florence, Alabama. There's a really beautiful Marriott that's got one of those circular restaurants that overlooks the lake. Lots of people stay there, and they've got in their bar area down below, they normally have a live band that plays every weekend, and they're called the Swampers. Wow. And that's a note back to the formation of Muscle Shoals in the music industry in the 1960s. Muscle Shoals, and not to get too deep into it, in the 1960s, there was a legend in the music industry by the name of Ricky Hall, and he needed to try to come up with recording studios and a way to get some business going down into that area of the country. And so they established a major recording studio. It's called Fame Recording Studio in Muscle Shoals. And they had a lot of set players that would come in. And so they had background music and people that could perform, and they had some major players in the early music industry of country music that came up. One of the most famous is a gentleman by the name of W.C. Handy. There's a park named after him, and I'm trying to think of some songs like Walking in Memphis. There's a reference to W.C. Handy. And it's really kind of cool. They have all that still there. Again, we're in Florence, you want to go and hear some good live music, go to the Swampers, which is in the Marriott downstairs. But there's lots of other places to stay. They have lots of hotels, lots of good restaurants. Again, the Swampers, the rotating restaurant above the Marriott. There's one down, there's a marina that's right down as you cross one of the bridges. They've got a great restaurant. It's got a wonderful steam pot that I like to get when I'm down there. And if you're in that Alabama area, you got to try the Alabama white sauce on your barbecue. So it's really a good time. But we normally do a couple of tournaments out there every year. It's one of our major tournaments in the summertime. I have it scheduled toward the end of June, normally for the regular tour. And we've packed it out. This year we moved it up for April to get a little bit better weather, because sometimes in that June time frame in Muscle Shoals, it can get a little hot, especially one of the courses doesn't have a lot of trees. About the biggest thing out there is a thistle, but it's swampy. It's got a lot of ponds that coming over. I had posted a couple of pictures where there's some par threes that you're clearing a lot of water, but it's a tough track. And it'll lead to some pretty good play.
Well, tell us about the other course as well. I mean, you've got both those courses are really good. I mean, that's not even a question. Which is your favorite course and why out there? Well, and which course is going to produce the lowest scores?
It's interesting. Okay, first let me explain to some folks, because this is going out, and a lot of people may have heard or have. It's pretty famous. Is Robert Trent Jones in Alabama. There's a little bit of history to that one too, is that it was formulated in the 1990s. I think they broke construction for the set of courses was built, which would have been around 9. But it was the brainchild of a gentleman in Alabama who was trying to come an innovative way to fund the Alabama government consolidation system throughout the. So he also wanted to build a good tourist destination. And so he went to golf. And what they decided to do was to build 2, 3, even smaller short courses around their major cities. And they started construction. And these are very affordable public play, and they were well built. We're at 25-year anniversary coming through now, and as playable now as they have been when they opened. And they're fantastic layouts. And if you've ever been at an RTJ course, you have them at Hilton Head. They're well done and well maintained. So there's major RTJ golf trail courses in Alabama in their major cities. They've got them from Mobile coming up the interstate. They've got 3 wonderful ones in Montgomery and Prattville. Opelika has some that are fantastic. That's over by Auburn territory. Coming up to Birmingham, there's 2 different sets of courses in Birmingham. But kind of the hidden jewel is the one that we get in in the Nashville Tour. It's about 2 hours from Nashville in Muscle Shoals. And the courses are named the Fighting Joe, and the Fighting Joe is named after, I cannot remember. It's a Confederate general, and he actually general, and the Confederacy dissolves. But then he reaches the exact same rank in the Union Army after the war. So he's well respected in the area, and they named the course after him. And then the Schoolmaster is the other course, and Schoolmaster is named after President Woodrow Wilson, I believe, and because he was that was one of his nicknames, I believe, in politics, was being a schoolmaster, because he was a teacher. He would teach people, and so that's where the names come from. All right, so to just kind of describe the courses, the Fighting Joe, which if you were looking out the clubhouse and the river or the lake, if you're looking out, the Fighting Joe is kind of to the left, and it's more open. It's not a lot of trees. You're going to have carries. It actually has the longest hole on the whole Alabama Robert Trent Jones golf trail. It's over 800 yards. And the good news is it's all downhill. And the good news is our guys aren't playing it at 800 yards. I believe that's for a potential U.S. amateur and really, really tough events. And boy, I'm going to tell you what, you got water all up the right side as you get down there, and the green's kind of tucked behind the water. So it's a tough hole. There's a lot of holes that are like that. Another one that I like on the Fighting Joe is there's a course, couple of holes past, maybe a couple of holes past that it's a par 4. It's kind of short. It's got a set of bunkers on a hill right in front of you that you kind of use as the aiming point. But if you look really close at those bunkers, they're shaped in the form. There's 5 bunkers. They're shaped in the form of a paw print. And that's an symbolism for North Alabama State University, which is their mascot, I believe, the Tigers. So they own us to that. I will tell you this: when you're playing that hole, aim for the bunkers. Aim for the bunkers. Because the fairway's to the right. You hit it on that fairway shot, you're going to end up in some water. Just go right over top of the bunkers. And then the finishing hole is not a lot of finishing holes are par 3s. This one is, and boy, it is something else. You come out, you got the whole lake to the right side, and it is a classic Redan style with to the left, you've got some bailout area, but you're covering a ravine, which has a little path that goes down to a boathouse that's at the lake level. And the lake level is well below you. So you got to play that kind of tough shot. It's not long. It'll play about 150, 140 yards. But it is definitely a little bit intimidating, but it's a great way to finish a round. So that's the Fighting Joe side. And again, more wide open, not a lot of trees. Now, the Schoolmaster side, which is, again, if you're looking out from the clubhouse, it's going to be all on the right side. It's wooded. It was built a little bit through a wooded area that sits there. So you got a lot of shade and that, but you get that classic park woodland. And let me say this too. These courses are in the middle of the country. They are around them are cotton and soybean fields. There's some houses that you can see off of, I think, number 16 on the Fighting Joe. But that's about it. What else you're going to see out there is farmland and farm tractor supply stuff. So they're out in nature. And like when I've played the Schoolmaster before, I've seen foxes running across the fairways. I've see all kinds of things. Lots of different types of bird species, especially coming right up over off the lake. So it's pretty pristine. And it's nice to be able to in a residential area and get out there and just have good, like we all love to do, a good walk in nature with some golf clubs and hitting a golf ball. But again, Schoolmaster, more wooded. Again, some really, really tough holes. Now, the second hole, par 3, has this beautiful waterfall that sits behind it. So you're kind of hitting right into that, and nice overview. And it has multiple teeing areas. You've got some holes that go up under a road and go onto the other side. And then you come back. A goal there is the exact same thing in terms of it finishes looking the bluff on the right side, and it climbs up a hill, turns right the whole way, and it's got a nasty false front to it. So that flag is kind of that. It's short, deep into that green. And for both of these courses are the greens run fantastic. They're the hybrids that we're using down in the Tennessee, North Alabama area. It's awesome. They're the champions tip for the courses or holes like that. So they run true, and they really run pretty fast, especially under conditions. These two courses are really good challenges of golf.
Well, again, like I said, you can't go wrong with those courses, and the price is right too. I mean,
well, that's one of the other
$75 to play those two courses.
Ones too was especially in my area, we're getting such a population influx into our area, really putting a lot of pressure on the golf courses, and they're raising rates like crazy. I think that's happening probably everywhere. But these courses have kind of maintained their rates and kept them down. Now, I don't know what will happen in the future, but I'll keep fighting them to say, hey, we can keep this rate the way it is. We can keep getting these tournaments and getting our guys nationally to come on down and play because it's, it being earlier in the year, I mean, I know some of our tours are just now starting back up, the Milwaukees and the Chicagos of the world. So, hey, guys, hop a plane, fly into Huntsville, come on over. And we got 2 great golf courses and pretty good weather in April. The main thing we have to dodge in April is just rain showers. Most of the cold weather, knock on wood, is gone, even though this winter's been kind of tough on all of us. Even Hilton Head, you guys got a lot of snow. Yeah. So we've gotten cold streaks, but nothing major.
Even we got some snow
a couple weeks ago, and that's about the worst that we've gotten.
Yeah, but you can't go wrong by going to this regional. You really can't. So hurry up and sign up. Get on down to the Shoals and play. In Nashville, what's going on in Nashville? What I noticed is, and I know you guys play here every year, is at the Hermitage, but the golf shop this is Chris got.
Yeah. Chris Pierce, he's something else.
You gotta do something with him. I love the guy. I mean, he's phenomenal. Just watching his reels and those types of things. And then I saw him do an interview a couple weeks ago, and he just seems like he's just a fun guy to be around.
Yeah, he's a pretty good golfer. He's in the clubhouse. He runs the pro shop side. He's the kind of tournament director. He's got other people with him too, but he and for people who have not seen him, you've got to check it out. Check out Instagram or the Reels and look up Hermitage Golf Course. And one of the things too, that a lot of people don't know, Hermitage, there's 2 courses, and actually tomorrow at 9:30, I've got a straight tee start out on the President's Reserve for our regular tour, and we're going to have a good time. But if you don't know, it's way back in the day. This was back in the 70s. The first course was built. It's more of a Parkland style course, and it's called the General's Retreat. Now, these are located within about 5 miles of the Hermitage. The Hermitage is Andrew Jackson's home. And so it's across the street a little bit farther up, and that's why it's called Hermitage. So the courses are both named for Andrew Jackson. So yeah, the General's Retreat, which I'm not sure Andrew Jackson ever retreated from anything. And then you got the President's Reserve. Now, the President's Reserve was Andrew Jackson. One of the things when he settled in that area, was horse racing. He had a horse racing track, but they had a lot of wildlife in the area and hunting. The President's Reserve, which we're playing tomorrow, was an old duck hunting reserve. And so a lot of the bridges, when you're going over, and it's pretty swampy, but when you're going over some of the bridges, you're going to see duck blinds out there, lots of geese out there even now. So that's why it has that name. And then the other thing that makes Hermitage kind of well known is the owners brought in some black-faced sheep about 10 years ago, maybe even longer than that. And they have this
I think it's even longer than
sheep, and they own, whether you think anybody else owns them or not, they own those golf courses, and they just go wherever they want to. I take Meredith and Amelia out there, and they always want to go up to sheep. And they're real tame. You can pet them and everything, but it's their golf course. And they'll wander between both courses and just do whatever they want to do and eat whatever they want to eat. And then at night, they come back over to the President's Reserve side where their main pens and get their real official food. But that's after they've lounged around on the course and watched you hit a golf ball quite a bit.
I think that's hilarious. I really do. And I like history, and I talked about the shoals and the music history there. But if nobody's ever been over to the Hermitage, his home, they do a really good job of walking you through history and around the property and everything that goes on now and went on at that time period. They do a really good job over there too.
I should have also brought up too, originally the first course, the President's Reserve was built about 10, 15 years later. General's Retreat, when it was originally built, when it was opening, they contracted with the LPGA, and there was an LPGA event that started there. One of the stories I give people is on the General's Retreat. I remember going out there to watch, and Ray Knight, the third baseman for the Cincinnati Reds, was there. Well, Ray was married to Nancy Lopez, and he was walking around, and I started walking to him. And at the time, I think I was coaching some baseball or something. We were just talking to have a good time, but we were watching Nancy play, and we got to hole number 11, which is par 5 that runs right along the fence line, which on the other side of that fence line now is the other course. But that hole is par 5, where pretty good tee shot to get it out there. Then decision time, especially for the ladies, to even try to go for it in 2. It's a pretty long par 5. Most ladies, even the pros at that time, I would never see them even attempt a shot like that. Ray Knight and I are up farther along the rope line, about midway on that hole. And we get up there, and he looked over at me and goes, "She going to go for it?" Because she had hit a pretty good drive. And she smoked a 3-wood, and it hit the front bank, because there's water protecting all the whole front and right side of that green. It hit the front bank and jumped right up onto that green. And don't think she eagled it, but she got a birdie, and it helped her coming down the stretch for that. But yeah, that course, hosted that event for quite a long time, and then it moved, I think, to the other side of over toward Franklin or the Legends Club, which is now owned by Vanderbilt, and they have 2 courses over there. But yeah, it's some of the better public golf courses in the Nashville area, and they've hosted some pretty good events.
Yeah, Jeff, I don't think a lot of people truly understand the quality of golf that's in Nashville. It's kind of a sleepy giant. I mean, there's a ton of really good, solid courses out there that nobody has really heard of.
Absolutely. One thing though with Nashville, there's a whole lot of private clubs, so we get a lot of private play.
Yes.
Yeah, and actually we got some that are getting built. Real quick story: an add-in on my senior side. Usually later in the summer, we do an event down in the Memphis area. For years, we would go down to Tunica, which is a little bit south of Memphis where the casinos are. Most of those casinos have shut down or moved now. There's another casino, a newer one that got built in Arkansas across the river. A lot of people go to it now. But the Tunica National Golf Course was a great venue, and we've done that event for quite a few years. But we moved it this year, and we moved it to a course that's kind of northeast of Memphis in the Millington area, and it's called Miramichi. Interesting story on Miramichi. Miramichi originally was owned and opened up and was a pretty good venue. And then Justin Timberlake bought it and sunk a ton of money into it and really turned it and enhanced the value of it quite a bit. Then I think he sold it back to Millington. And Millington is just south of a military town. And we're moving our Tunica event. We're going to play, and I'm partnering with the Senior Tour in Arkansas, and we're going to do a 2-day regional or 2-day event down there. And that's going to be, I think it's either last weekend in August, maybe, or the first weekend in September, in and around. I'd have to look at the schedule. I don't have it in front of me, but that's when we're doing that event. But then the cool thing is another Justin Timberlake turnaround is he's now bought property in the Nashville area with a private club, and they're opening that up. That should, I think, about a year. I think it's under construction now, and I think it'll open up soon. But we've had a lot of investment with private clubs. Another one is Brant Snedeker's real big with the Golf Club of Tennessee, which is a very elite private club. Then we've got the gentleman who owns Tootsie's Orchid Lounge, if you ever heard of Tootsie's. Tootsie's is downtown Nashville, right on Broadway. It is a honky-tonk. Okay, so for people who don't know what honky-tonks are, it's a small, skinny room. You walk in, it's not very big. And normally when you walk in, you come through those front windows that overlook the outside. That's where the band sits. They sit and they're facing toward the audience with their backs to the people who are walking on the street. And they sing country music. And we've got quite a few of those. And those were made famous back in the 50s. Honky tonks were opening up. Tootsie's is one of the original ones. And it's so popular now. They now have opened up their roof. They've got a roof skyline that overlooks the Cumberland River. There's a whole lot of fun going on most of the time. And it's right behind the Ryman Auditorium, which was made famous back in the 50s too, as an auditorium where a lot of performances occurred. A lot of country music would go to the Ryman and perform. So you can actually walk out the back door of Tootsie's. Well, I leave this all to say the gentleman by the name of Steve Smith owns Tootsie's. Well, he bought one of the private clubs that was the old DuPont plant sitting out very close to where I live, and renovated it. And it's a private club, and they did a fantastic job. And now he's even bought another golf course up in the Middle Tennessee Central area up near a lake, and they're renovating it. And that one is really big into, they've renamed it. It used to be called, I can't think of it. Now it's called honky tonk, or I have to look it up. But it's the big guy out of Arkansas, the golfer John Daly, is real big friends with Steve Smith, and they've done a lot of videos. If you look them up, you'll see that. I think they had who's the young guy in the Live Tour that did really well on the U.S. Open. He's big friends with
Bryson.
Yes, and they got some videos where they're having a blast. And, Daly's driving around with a golf cart that's got a front trunk full of beer, and he eats a whole lot of M&Ms and he's smoking a cigarette.
Smoking cigarettes.
So, but all that connection, we're seeing a whole lot of golf. And golf ideas and things coming out of the Nashville area that have really, really prompted an upsurge in a lot of play, plus the population movement in. So if we could build about 5 or 10 more courses, that'd be great. It would house the population. But we fight for everything we get. We have good courses, especially our public side, and enjoy it. Anybody wants to come down and play, we'd love to have you.
Well, Jeff, thank you so much for joining us and sharing a lot of really good information. And again, sign up for Shoals. Don't regret missing it. And, again, Nashville's got a lot of hidden gems. So again, Jeff, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon, buddy.
All right. Thanks, guys. Talk to you later.
Let's take a break from the show to hear about Srixon's ZX Mark II drivers.
ZX Mark II drivers are for major players, major winners, major power. All new ZX Mark II drivers, only from Srixon.
Chris, glad we got Jeff on and talk a little bit about the Shoals regional. Again, that's a really hidden gem.
Sounds like it.
The price is right. It's low. You can't beat those two courses, and then just the history of the area. If you got some time, go. I mean, they do some recording studio tours, and just kind of as an idea. Some of the songs that were recorded in Muscle Shoals, Old Time Rock and Roll, by Bob Seger, that was recorded there. Bunch of Etta James songs, Clarence Carter songs, Sitting in Limbo by Jimmy Cliff, Hey Jude with Wilson Pickett, Aretha Franklin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Do Right Woman, Do Right Man. Lots of really good songs, and artists came through there and did some recordings. Mustang Sally. How about that one?
Yeah. It's a good one.
When a Man Loves a Woman. I mean, so again, lots of good history there. And the general he was talking about was General Joseph Wheeler, Fighting Joe. That's who it was. But anyway, again, a lot of history there, a lot of history up in Nashville. And the Hermitage, I brought up the whole idea about going to Andrew Jackson's homestead. That's a really good tour up there, let alone, going over to the Hermitage golf courses and Golf Shop This is Chris. You know who Golf Shop This is Chris is, right? Yeah, I mean, guy's freaking hilarious. So, if you're in the area for Nashville, you should stop in and try and play. Jeff runs a good tour, a good tournament, and glad we finally got him on. It's been, we've had him on before, but it's been a while. So glad we could get him in.
No, it was a good time talking to him. I am concerned that he said they have white barbecue sauce.
Yeah.
You don't disrespect barbecue that way, coming from a Texas guy. But
that's kind of like having Mexican when you go to Louisiana.
True. But I'll let him enjoy that white barbecue sauce, and I'll hopefully one day I can make it out there. I'd love to play a course in every state.
Yeah.
So I got to go there eventually.
So you should do it alphabetically.
I should what?
Do it alphabetically. Starting with Texas and going backwards.
There you go.
Oh boy, how's things in El Paso? I know you had a tournament. You did better.
I did better. Yeah. Lately we've been getting dust storms like crazy. You can barely see across the street. So,
that picture you sent me yesterday, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I want to be able to breathe.
You can't. And I think that's what got me sick, but it's tough. But it's supposed to pass today. We have events coming up, some first majors, and continue grinding, trying to get out there as much as I can, at least.
So is this like a season? Do you get like a dust storm season? Or is it just they roll through every now and again?
I mean, every once in a while they'll roll through, but for the most part, it's windy season. But it's never been this bad. I don't know if it's the construction around the town that's causing all the dirt to get loose, but it's been pretty bad lately.
Probably global warming.
At least we didn't get snow.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't bother me. I'll just stay inside, Chris. Dust storms, Tim's inside. Snow, inside. Rain, inside.
Right, but when the dust gets through your AC vent and still smell
it gets into everything. Oh my God,
it's not fun.
I don't know if I told you about the time we were in Arizona and we were playing it at a course, and all of a sudden, I can't remember it, but we were staying on the 18th tee box. It was Jen and I, and we saw it rolling in, and she said we should probably go. I said no, we're going to finish this hole. It was the 18th hole. We finished it. Drive over to the car, jump out of the golf cart, get in the car just as it's hitting us. And it gets in everything. It gets in through the vents.
Yep.
You can taste it. It literally got into everything. It was disgusting.
I believe you told me that before, but it's everywhere.
Yeah. So, well, I mentioned earlier about Jennifer's parents, and again, they're doing the best that they can. Give them a little bit of leeway. They'll get back to you when they can, and us as tour directors, we can handle a lot of the things anyway. So just come through us, and we'll take care of you the best we can until they can get back online and take care of the things that they need to take care of.
Yeah, I mean, just remember, life happens to everybody. Situations come up, and just got to respect the time as it is. But the train will get back on the tracks hopefully sooner than anyone would hope for. But just keep that in mind, and like you said, go to your directors. I'm pretty sure we can get you the answer a lot quicker than going through the support email. And just bear with them.
Yeah, it'll be all right. But again, it is what it is. I feel awful for them. Knowing how they've been dealing with this situation for a few years, and it just comes time. So thoughts and prayers go out to them, and they'll get back to some normalcy hopefully sometime soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, normally this episode we would be announcing the February Player of the Month.
Right.
We already know who it is, but we got to keep it a secret, and he will be announced on our next episode.
Yes, he will.
I actually have to get in touch with him and let him know. He's going to be ecstatic about it. And generally how this is going to go, where the original plan, how this was going to go was what Dennis is going to choose. So we take all the identified information off of the emails that we get, send them over to Dennis. He chooses, and then the original plan was he would come on and announce it, and we would have that player and their tour director on the show.
Right.
And because of what's going on, that's why it didn't happen this time. Hopefully for the April, hopefully in April for the March Player of the Year, we can do that. But so that we'll just have to modify that. He will still be choosing them, but the announcement will be a little bit different if there's still
maybe. Yeah.
So,
but I mean, we've been getting a lot of responses for March already, so that's pretty cool.
Yep. Here's the one thing I would say, and I think I'm going to send out to all the tour directors. Be a little bit more specific. Okay, give us a little bit more detail of of what they've done. We got good responses, and so far, like you said, but give us a little bit more detail so that we can truly get into who these people are, and that may be a differentiator as well. So, but
right,
thank you for tour directors.
Everybody can go out there and help you set up, or ask to tear down, or help you read scorecards. But like, what's that one thing that separates them from everybody else?
Yeah. So, as I think about it, if I were Gina, I would nominate Kevin Odom. Right? Yeah. I mean, and it goes back to what he said. The very first thing he said was not about himself. It was about a different player in a different flight, and championing that person and congratulating that person for winning. That to me. So Gene, if you're listening, you can spin him if you want. I would if I were you. But again, we don't choose.
Right.
But those are the types of people that we're looking to really highlight and honor, because to me that made a big impression on me, on who Kevin is and what the tour means to him and what he means to the tour.
Agreed. 1,000% agreed.
So, well, listen, buddy. First thing I want you to do is stop being sick and get back to being awesome.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. And if you're going to play tomorrow and you're not feeling good, be careful.
I will. I have too much running on the line to do something stupid. So.
Yep. So. All right, my friend. You enjoy yourself. All the best to the family. Tell them to stop being sick and get back to being awesome. Tell Diane, don't ever get sick. And always stay awesome.
That can't happen.
Can't happen.
But no, I appreciate it. Thank you. I'll let them know.
But
be safe.
Buddy. You take care. Talk to you soon.
Yep.
All right, that's a wrap for this week's episode. But Chris, after all this time, you would think we would remember this stuff.
We forgot to tell people how to register, didn't we?
Yep. Take it away.
Well, if you're not already part of the Golfweek Amateur Tour, what are you waiting for? Grab your clubs, join the fun, and see what competitive golf is all about. You can sign up today and start meeting some incredible folks who love the game as much as you do.
All you need to do is go to amateurgolftour.net, click the Join the Tour button, and pay your local tour's membership dues.
And hey, don't forget, if you're enjoying the podcast, you can catch us on all of the major podcast platforms. Be sure to download, share it with your golf buddies, and throw us a quick review if you're feeling the love. It helps us keep bringing you the good stuff and reaching even more golfers out there. Thanks for hanging with us, and until next time, keep swinging and having fun out there.
We'll see you next time. Take care.